Creating Allyship in Research aims to chronicle the perspectives and strategies from a lens of lived experience of how to genuinely integrate their ideas, perspectives, and voice into the research process. So what do we mean by allyship in research?
Allyship to me means that we finally come together as a group, recognizing the problem and discussing how we should address that problem and the action that goes with it. That's what allyship means to me.
Allyship to me is really an ongoing process of engaging people with meaningful voices and with expertise in certain areas, often people that are seen as disenfranchised in the general population, and working collaboratively to co-create solutions.
To me, allyship in research means that you walk alongside each other in the co-creation of this knowledge. So you work with a group or a team to develop the research design, to implement it, to analyze it, and then to share, communicate, and disseminate the research findings to the people you want it to impact.
I think in just sort of broadening my idea of it, it needs to be flipped. People's lived experience are the allies to the people who are doing the work, not the other way around. They're the ones who are seeking consultation. They're seeking support to do their work. It's not the other way around, especially in this realm.
But there's a big difference between including those voices and actually actively engaging them in the process of the design. And I think that's where you shift between including lived experience and allyship, where we're actually actively engaging people in that process of design or creation. And it's a much deeper, more intentional relationship.
Allyship is supporting the endeavor. It's also standing up and being an advocate with no fear to say what that person isn't able to say.
Why is allyship useful or valuable?
So the impact that LICO has on research and the community, I think, is, from our side of the fence, fundamentally humanizing. It's allowing individuals who are attempting to do this type of work to learn to understand the people who are involved, not just the problems.
It provides an opportunity for us to understand complex issues from the voices and experiences of people that have journeyed through homelessness and other aspects of poverty in our community.
I was talking to a couple this morning, and they're so used to being talked down to. And this way, this research instead of giving them a hand down, we gave them a hand up.
My experience that I bring to the table in our Allyship project is having had the rapport with the street people that I've been working with for years. They trust me. They will sit and talk to me.
But when we engage in allyship, we're making sure that the voices and the perspectives of the people that we're embracing as co-researchers are coming through in our design process. And going through the research that we just did, it was so amazing to see how much more rich the experience was, how much more engaging the experience was for the participants coming in to experience the research, because we had engaged and viewed our co-researchers as colleagues right from the beginning, with no sort of difference in the expectations or the value of their voices.
What does allyship look like in practice?
The integration of allyship in research is absolutely critical to the work that we do. Research is undertaken in partnership and completely co-created from the ground up with people with lived experience voices.
You know, we come in, even the setup of the room, the circle, where we could sit there face to face and talk. And we opened it with the sacred circle, which is very different from other research that I have been in. And this, I believe, had given everybody the comfort and the feeling of safety of speaking out. In order to have this allyship going on, we have to have the trust, the relationship, and the respect for the people. And it's all about relationship building.
And that's what we do, bringing our stories to the forefront, and everyone has a different story. Bringing them to the forefront, that's what they need to be able to come up with the solutions and the right best practice approaches.
one of the first things is to include your allies as an equal partner from the beginning. So that means things like actively going out to them to ensure that the questions that you're asking are the ones that are most important for the group that you're working with and for those core researchers, and ensuring that there's an equality between voices. So are you treating your co-researcher like a co-researcher and not like a participant in the process? I think that's really critical. And part of all of that is taking the time to establish trust. So if you're thinking that doing allyship and research is a short process, it's not. It requires a length of time to build those relationships.
And the way that it's mobilized in our community gives us a unique opportunity to distill learnings and pivot in the work that we do and move to different trajectories in a raw, meaningful, and real-time kind of way. We learn as we mobilize as we learn through the voices of people with lived experience.
What is the impact if allyship is genuinely and authentically incorporated into research?
Our research is richer, it's more valid, it's more reliable, it's going to be used more, and it is setting the stage for additional research that we wouldn't have been able to do without the involvement of our allies in the research process.
The big change I've seen in this research since I've become involved is the fact that I have the hope and the belief that it's actually going to go somewhere and make a difference.
More inclusion of people with lived experience in research is going to require a demonstration of the value. I think that's the biggest gap between people with lived experience and the systems development. Is every time the population is polled, queried, inquired upon, and stuff like that, they don't see the end results. And so again, it makes it hard to compel individuals to participate if they don't know what the value is going to be. And I think that's the biggest challenge in that respect.
What follows is our call to action for researchers on why you need to create allyship in your research. This video is intended to be a catalyst to think carefully when designing programs with those from marginalized populations of why inclusion of their perspectives and involvement in project phases is so important.
I mean, it has brought me up to a different level of understanding academia and how we can work as partners and making the voices heard. And I believe that's the whole reason I'm here on Earth, because it's connect those with these and everybody's equal.
So what our process of allyship and research has taught us is that we will never conduct research on people of lived experience without their involvement and guidance throughout the entire research process. It takes more time, it takes a commitment, it takes a funding model to do that, but it is integral to any research you do on any needs of the population. And without it, are you really truly capturing what your research intends to do?
It says nothing about us without us. That lived experience voice brings that to the table. You can't make decisions and solutions that you don't really understand the problem of.
Our deepest gratitude to our co-researchers, Sherry and Dorothy, our community partners, Central Okanagan Journey Home Society and the Lived Experience Circle on Homelessness, and our funders, Enactus Canada and the Vancouver Foundation, for their support of this work.